I never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been with my wife, Emily, for about 5 years now. We got engaged last summer, right after a pretty big party that I thought was the happiest night of my life. She looked stunning. Everyone was celebrating, and I was on cloud nine. We had a lot of friends there, including my best friend, Mike. Mike and I have known each other since college, and he's been like a brother to me, loyal, reliable, the kind of guy I'd trust with my life. So it hit me hard when I started noticing strange things about Emily after that night. Small stuff at first, her phone constantly buzzing, her sudden secretive behavior, disappearing for long stretches of the day without explanation. But I brushed it off, thinking I was paranoid or maybe just overreacting. I mean, how could Emily cheat? She was the perfect wife to be, bitchy when she wanted to be, manipulative sometimes. But she loved me, right? Or so I thought. I had no idea what was really going on behind my back until I accidentally found out the truth. It all changed. One random Tuesday when I came home early from work, I noticed her phone was plugged into the charger in the living room and it was unlocked. I'm not someone who snoops, well, maybe a little, but I never thought I'd find something that would turn my world upside down. I glanced at her messages, and what I saw made my stomach drop. There were texts between Emily and Mike, not just friendly stuff or work talk like she always claimed. No, there were explicit messages, flirty, suggestive, talking about meeting up, about sex, about feelings. I couldn't believe it. My best friend, my wife, behind my back, sneaking around like that. I read every word, my heart pounding, feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. I was furious. How could she lie? How could she betray me like that, especially with Mike? They knew how much I trusted both of them. I felt sick, betrayed, and so damn stupid for not noticing the signs earlier. I kept staring at her phone, trying to process what I had just seen. I wanted to scream, cry, do something, anything. But all I could do was sit there, trembling, clutching her phone and feeling the weight of her betrayal crushing me. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I lay awake, replaying everything I thought I knew about her and feeling the bitter taste of betrayal. That's when I realized I had to confront her. I couldn't let this go. I needed to hear her explain herself, though I already knew there was no good explanation for this kind of lie and cheating. Still, I decided I'd ask her straight up. I was done pretending everything was fine. I needed her to tell me the truth, and I needed to hear it from her own lips. That's where I am now, trying to figure out what's next, feeling a mix of anger, heartbreak, and confusion. I don't know if we can come back from this, but I know I can't keep living in the dark. So I waited until she got home that evening, heart pounding like I'd just run a marathon. I was furious, hurt, and honestly, a little scared of what I might say or do next. When Emily walked through the door, she looked a little surprised to see me sitting on the couch, but she quickly masked it with her usual bitchy smirk. "Hey, babe," she said, flopping down next to me. I looked right at her, cold and dead inside, and just handed her the phone. "Who is he, Emily?" I asked, voice trembling but firm. She blinked, caught off guard, then scoffed and rolled her eyes. "What are you talking about? My phone? I don't know what you mean." I didn't buy it. I'd seen enough to know she was lying. "Stop playing your games, Emily. I found the messages. You and Mike, what the hell is this?" I was furious. I could feel the rage bubbling up, but I tried to keep it controlled. She looked at me with that bitchy, dismissive expression she always had when she thought she was smarter than everyone else. "Oh, come on, Jake," she said, shrugging. "It's nothing, just some stupid flirtation. It doesn't mean anything. We're just having fun, that's all." That was her standard line, always dismissing everything like it was no big deal. But I knew better. I read the messages. The way they talked about meeting up, about sex, about feelings, they weren't just having fun. They were sneaking around. No way she could spin this as harmless anymore. I lost it right then. Having fun, is that what you call cheating on me? While I was planning our wedding, while I was dreaming about our future, I couldn't hold back my anger anymore. "Do you even realize how much you've hurt me, how long you've been lying to my face?" Emily's face turned icy and she scoffed again. "You're overreacting. You always blow things out of proportion. It's not like I cheated or anything. It's just some stupid messages, Jake. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." I stared at her, my jaw clenched, my fists clenched. Stupid messages. You think that's all it was? I saw the texts. I saw the pictures you sent each other. How many times have you sneaked off with him? How long have you been lying to me? Her eyes flickered, but she quickly recovered. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous or maybe insecure. Mike's just a friend. You're blowing this way out of proportion. I shook my head in disbelief. I never thought she'd lie like that, so bitchy, so dismissive. She always had a way of turning things around, making it seem like I was the one overreacting. But I was. I could feel the betrayal sinking in deeper, and I knew I had to decide what to do. I looked at her, trying to keep my voice steady. I don't know if I can trust you anymore, Emily. This isn't just a misunderstanding. You cheat on me with my best friend behind my back during our engagement party. That's something I don't think I'll ever get past. She rolled her eyes again, crossing her arms. You're being dramatic. Just calm down, Jake. We can talk about this later. I'm tired. That's when I realized I was done. Done trying to get her to see reason, done pretending I didn't know what she was. I'd been a fool for trusting her, for thinking she cared about me. The betrayal cut so deep I wasn't sure if I'd ever recover. But I knew one thing for sure: this was the end of us. I had to figure out my next move. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I could barely focus at work. The image of her lying about everything, the way she dismissed my feelings like they were nothing, kept echoing in my head. I kept asking myself why I didn't see it coming sooner. Looking back, I remember the little things: her sudden secretive phone habits, the times she'd get defensive when I tried to talk about her plans or her friends. But I was blinded by love and maybe a little hope that she'd come clean. Now I saw it for what it was: betrayal, plain and simple. The next day, I decided I needed to get some space, so I took the day off work. I couldn't stay in that apartment with her anymore. I went to a nearby bar, ordered a beer, and just sat there trying to process everything. That's when I saw Mike walk in. My stomach clenched immediately. My mind raced, thinking about all those messages, about how close they had been, about how he'd played me all along. I watched him sit at the bar, acting all casual, like nothing was wrong. I felt my blood boil. I wanted to confront him right then and there, but I knew it wouldn't do any good. Instead, I just watched, trying to make sense of it all. Later that evening, I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I called her and told her I needed to talk face to face. When she showed up, she looked annoyed, like I was bothering her. That bitchy smirk was back on her face, so confident, so dismissive. I sat her down and laid everything out: the messages, the photos, the fact that I knew she'd been lying to me. Her reaction: she started crying, then quickly turned into angry tears, accusing me of spying, of ruining her life. She kept repeating, "You don't understand, Jake. It's not what you think." That's when I snapped. I told her she was a liar, a cheat, and a manipulative bitch who thought she could walk all over me. I told her I was done. Done with her lies, her pretending, her sneaky games. I told her she wasn't the woman I thought she was, and that I was tired of being the fool in her twisted game. She looked at me, eyes full of venom, and spat back, "You're just jealous and insecure. You don't know how to handle a woman like me." That was the last straw. I told her I was leaving, that I wanted her out of my life. I couldn't look at her anymore without feeling disgusted. As I packed a bag and left that apartment, I felt a strange mix of relief and heartbreak. I'd lost what I thought was my future, the woman I loved, my best friend, all in one terrible summer. But I also felt a sense of clarity. No more lies, no more pretending. I knew I had to get away from her toxic attitude, her bitchy lies, and her manipulative ways. I spent the night at a friend's place, trying to sleep but mostly just replaying everything that had happened. The pain was sharp, but at least I knew the truth now. I had lost her, yes, but I also gained a little bit of my own self-respect back. It was a brutal lesson in trust, betrayal, and knowing when to walk away. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. The house felt emptier than ever, and every corner seemed to echo with memories of what used to be. I kept wondering how I could have been so blind, so naive, to not see how bitchy and manipulative Emily really was. She was always good at pretending, good at hiding her true self behind that angry, dismissive attitude. Honestly, I think I started to realize how much of her was fake: her smiles, her tears, her lies. I kept telling myself I wasn't going to let her ruin me, but it was damn hard. I stayed away from her, tried to clear my head and focused on work and my friends. But no matter how much I distracted myself, the pain lingered. The worst part was the feeling of betrayal. She'd always been a bitch, sure, but I never thought she'd cheat on me with Mike, my best friend. That was the punch in the gut I couldn't shake. I kept replaying that night in my head, imagining her sneaking off behind everyone's back, probably laughing about it afterwards. I felt so stupid for trusting her, for thinking she loved me. Now I saw her for what she really was, a manipulative, unfaithful bitch who thought she could get away with anything. I didn't want to make any rash decisions, so I stayed quiet for a few days, letting everything sink in. Then I started to plan my next move. I knew I couldn't just disappear, not without a plan. I wanted her to see I wasn't just some fool who got played. I wanted her to understand that I'd find a way to make her pay. I decided I'd get revenge, not some childish thing, but something that would hit her where it hurt. I knew her pretty well. She loved to manipulate and control situations, so I had to be smarter. I started gathering evidence, more screenshots of her messages, some of her bank statements, anything that proved how much she lied and how she'd spun this whole thing. I also contacted a lawyer just in case I needed to get the ball rolling on a divorce or some legal issues. It was all about power moves now. I wasn't going to be the guy she walked all over anymore. I wanted her to feel the pain she'd caused me, but I also knew I had to be careful. I couldn't afford to make mistakes, especially with Emily being such a bitch about everything. I remember the moment I finally decided what I'd do. I'd wait. I'd wait until the right moment to strike back, and when I did, she'd realize she'd messed with the wrong guy. That's what I kept telling myself anyway. I wasn't going to let her make a fool out of me forever. I deserved better. I knew I had to be patient, but inside I was already planning my revenge. It was going to be sweet, I could feel it. And honestly, I was tired of her manipulations, her lies, her bitchy attitude. This was my way of reclaiming some control. I was starting to see her for who she really was, and I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Not this time. The weeks went by and I kept my distance, but I wasn't just sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I was plotting, quietly gathering everything I needed for the perfect revenge. I knew Emily was the type to manipulate her way out of trouble, so I had to be smarter than her. I started talking to some of her friends, people I knew she trusted, subtly finding out what she'd been up to behind my back. Turns out I wasn't the only one who saw her bitchy side. Lots of people knew she was difficult, but few knew just how manipulative she could be. That gave me more ammunition. I also hired a private investigator, just to be sure I had everything on camera, her sneaking around, meeting up with Mike, even the little things she did when she thought no one was watching. It was a brutal process watching her move behind my back, knowing I was collecting proof she'd try to deny later. I'd always been a straightforward guy, but after this betrayal, I realized I had to play the game her way if I wanted justice. Honestly, the biggest part of me just wanted to confront her again, to see her squirm, to make her realize she couldn't manipulate me anymore. But I knew that wouldn't be enough. I wanted her to feel powerless just like I did. So I held back, waiting for the perfect moment. That moment came one afternoon when I got a call from the Pie. They had footage of her sneaking out of her friend's apartment late at night, meeting Mike in a parking lot, their hands touching, their faces way too close. I watched it over and over, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and disgust. She thought she was so clever, hiding everything from me, but she wasn't as smart as she thought. That footage was the final proof I needed. Now it was time for the final move. I arranged to meet her at the same place where I'd first found the messages, her apartment. I wanted her to see me with all the evidence laid out. I told her I had something important to tell her, something she'd never expect. When she showed up, confident as always, I was already ready. I pulled out my phone, played the videos for her, and let her see herself sneaking around, lying through her teeth. Her bitchy attitude instantly changed. She started to panic, trying to deny everything, but I just cut her off. "You lied to me," I said, voice cold and tight. "All those times you said it was nothing, just flirting, just fun. You've been cheating on me with my best friend, and I got proof." Her face turned red and she stammered, trying to make excuses, but I wasn't having it. I wanted her to feel the full weight of what she'd done. That moment was about her realizing she couldn't manipulate her way out of this one. I told her she'd ruined everything, our engagement, maybe even what little trust we had left. I told her I was done being her fool, her pawn. I was going to walk away and never look back. Watching her squirm, seeing that bitchy mask slip away, was almost satisfying enough to make me forget the pain. Almost. But deep inside, I felt a strange relief that I was finally taking control. I didn't need her, her lies, or her manipulations. I was free. Now it was time to move on, to rebuild myself after this disaster. I knew I'd be okay, even if it hurt like hell right now. I'd learned a lot about trust, betrayal, and what kind of person Emily really was, and I'd never let someone do this to me again. The aftermath hit me harder than I expected. Once I laid everything out, showed her the videos, the messages, the evidence, I saw something break inside Emily. Her bitchy, manipulative attitude was gone, replaced by a kind of defeated silence. She tried to spin it, to blame me for overreacting, said I was just jealous or insecure, but I wasn't falling for her lies anymore. Seeing her so helpless, so exposed, felt like some kind of closure I desperately needed. I told her she could stay in the apartment if she wanted, but I was moving out. I told her I didn't want to see her face again, not until she learned what real respect was. I left that night, her standing there with that bitchy smirk wiped away, looking like the pathetic, manipulative woman she truly was. The next few weeks were a blur. I moved into a small apartment, started seeing a therapist, and began rebuilding myself. The pain was still there, deep, raw, but slowly fading into something more manageable. I couldn't help but reflect on everything I'd learned from this nightmare. Trust is fragile, and I'd been an idiot for thinking Emily cared about me. But at least now I knew what kind of person she was: selfish, bitchy, manipulative. And I learned that revenge isn't about destroying someone, but about reclaiming your own sense of dignity. The biggest lesson: never ignore the warning signs. Never let someone treat you like dirt and think you're just supposed to accept it. I'm not saying I'm perfect now. I still get angry sometimes, still think about how I was played, but I also feel stronger for having gone through it. I've realized that sometimes you have to lose everything to see what you're really made of. I'll always miss the good times, but I won't miss her lies, her manipulations, or the way she betrayed me. I hope whoever reads this understands. Don't stay silent. Don't let someone treat you like you're nothing. Because in the end, the only person who can truly save you from heartbreak is yourself. And after all this, I finally believe that.